Welcome back, everyone. I am the Gerbil, and this is my comprehensive guide for Ewok strategy, part 3. Let's get started. So, just as a recap, there are 4 parts to this series. We've already covered part 1 and 2. You can find on my channel. And today we're going to hit part 3, discussing mods, Zetas, and the Omicron for Ewoks. A couple quick notes down in the comment section, or rather the description below, or some timestamps so you can jump ahead if you'd like. There's some links and a PDF of this and parts 1 and 2's guide for your reference offline. Okay, mods. Mods, nauseating. Yeah, so this screen you're looking at 220 mods and your inventory holds more than double that. It's frustrating. Mod management sucks. So let's try to just cut through all the guessing and get straight into what works and what really works for Ewoks. Quick disclaimer, my mods that I'm going to present in this video are not actually what I'm going to recommend for all of my Ewoks, primarily because I'm breaking a few of my own rules for other reasons, and I'll explain in a little bit. But I'm going to show you what I do believe is the best setup for them, as well as what CG recommends. Speaking of, what do they recommend? Well, this is what they recommend. And this is fine if you're going to take your Ewoks to, whatever minimum gear needed to get C-3PO and then forget about them. But it's still going to be a headache, and I think that given the Omicron and the resurgence, perhaps because of the Omicron, that they're appearing more in GAC, I think that these mod recommendations are just flat wrong on 4 of them. There are 2 others that they're debatable on Ewok Elder and Scout, but Scout is really a niche character anyway, so let's move on from that. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty good stuff. Mods, Chief Chirpa. Now, on the bottom left of this graphic, you can see what the top 100 guild players as of January 24th are modding their Chirpa for. And we can see that they're giving him a speed arrow, which is the receiver, critical chance or damage, which is on the triangle, protection on the data bus, multiplexers the cross. They're giving him protection or defense. And that's... yeah, no, I'm going to have to disagree with some of that. Quite a lot of it, actually. If you look at the top right, you're going to see how I highly recommend you mod them, speed and health, which is the 2 sets that the top 100 guilds have, but the primaries are wrong. And I'll explain this. So the primaries, you really do want the speed, yep, that's true, but on the triangle, the cross, and the circle, all 3 of those, you do not want protection. You actually don't. You want health. And why is that? Well, let's take a look at speed first off. Okay, Chirpa's kit is actually, he's a slow character, but he's already got a lot of speed built into his kit. His basic, as we previously discussed, whenever he does a basic attack, if the target has 50% turn meter, he's going to gain 35% turn meter. Now, combine that with his leadership ability, and he's going to give himself 55 every time he hits the right target on his basic, which means you essentially can double his base speed with that. I mean, it's awesome. And then, of course, the Omicron is going to give him an additional 30, and his tribal unity gives everyone speed up. So he's already fast, but honestly, you need him faster. Okay, why that health? All right, here we go. All allies recover 20% of their max health. Chirpa gains or gives all allies heal over time, which heal, of course, is a specific ability applying to health, not to protection. And Ewok allies gain retribution for 2 turns, who cares, but they gain an additional heal over time for an additional turn. So now, what does that mean? In the big picture, Ewoks are a survival team. They are a grindy team. They do not hit with a sledgehammer. They kill the opponents with a million cuts. That means that they have to survive and take a lot of hits in response. So what the Ewoks provide is a lot of health recovery. You can see now in the middle here, the bullet points. Logray provides health up to all Ewoks. That's going to give you, I don't remember, it's 25 or 30% additional health. Ewok Elder has 2 revival abilities that revive the Ewok with either 15 or 35% of their maximum health. Chirpa, Wicket, and Elder all have health healing abilities. Wicket can heal some protection, but half the rate of health. So, in other words, Chirpa, Logray, Wicket, and Elder all have abilities that directly boost or recover health. So in a protracted game where you and your opponent are going back and forth, whack, whack, whack-a-mole, the person who has more health on their Ewoks will outlast the person who has protection on their Ewoks. All right. Okay. So here's how I have my Chirpa modded. So if you've been watching my recent videos where I've been smashing Qui-Gon Jinn and some other folks, this is what I got on him. So you'll notice health primaries, and this is actually what you want. Speed, health, a lot of speed, and more health. This is Chirpa's best kit. Now, of course, you can deviate from that. I've seen people who run 6 healths just to keep him alive longer. And then secondary stats, highly recommend beyond speed, some tenacity, so that he doesn't become, the victim of so many debuffs out there. Okay, moving on to Teebo. I'm going to move a little bit faster now that we've seen how these screens work. The community is dead on with the sets again. Potency, potency, potency. You want 6 potency mods on him. You definitely want speed as much as you can. Now, Teebo is a tank, but if you're running him as a tank, you are definitely messing up because Teebo is only effective when he is in stealth, and when he is in stealth, he cannot be targeted. Therefore, he is among the worst tanks in the game. His basic removes 100% turn meter. That means he needs potency. You want to make sure that whatever you whack with him loses all their turn meter. So the more potency you can give him, the absolute best. He's a very, very, very easy one to understand. So this is just what I just explained. When he's in stealth, takes away all that turn meter. And that means defense doesn't matter. Health really doesn't matter too much other than what I just outlined in his kit back in Chirpa. The more health he has, the more he will benefit from Logray, Elder, Wicket, and Chirpa's abilities. None of those, again, recover protection. So health primaries, not protection, not critical damage. He's not getting hit worth enough to even care. So here's how I have mine modded. You can see all potency. And again, I rarely use him. So on my triangle and my circle, I do not have the correct primaries. You want health and health on those two. All right, next up, let's talk about Logray. So Logray's kit is interesting. Most people are going to mod him for speed and potency, and I totally agree with that. Alternatively, you could go pure potency times 6, which is very, very effective. The triangle and the circle, again, you want health, but this time on the cross, we are not going to go with health, and we are going to go with potency again. Why? Here we go. Dispel all buffs and remove 100% turn meter from the target. Inflict daze on all enemies. Remember, with that daze, your enemies cannot counterattack. They cannot gain bonus turn meter. There's so many great benefits with daze. So you want to make sure that that daze lands on everybody. If you're going up against Infest Nest, for example, you're going to really want to make sure that you've got as much potency as possible. So you can see here it says that if using Ewoks on defense in GAC, aim for 150% potency. If you can get it high enough, you can hold against Nest. The Ewoks can totally hold against Nest, but you have to have insanely high potency so that you can daze Nest and stop the counterattacks. Also, you can just time out Nest by consistently removing that turn meter. If your potency is low enough and Nest consistently, resists that hypnotize attack, then Nest is going to beat you. You need to max out your potency if you're using Logray in defense. Otherwise, the speed is great so that you can use the prophetic visions as often as possible to keep foresight and advantage on your team as well as the offense up, but that doesn't matter so much. And then, of course, the 20% bonus goes out to everybody with that ability. So the more often you can use it, the faster your team is. So here's my current mods, again, as of January 24th. And you see the potency on the cross. There's some pretty good speed there, but I do have the wrong primaries on the triangle and the circle again. I should probably change those, but it's working for me, and that's mostly because I have really, really, really epic mods. Now, if I didn't have such high speed on all of these, I would definitely be switching them out for health on the triangle and the circle. Alternative is still potency. All right, Paploo. Love Paploo. Here we go. The world says health and speed. Yes, yes, yes. Correct, world. Good job. Protection, protection, protection. No, no, no. No, 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 no. Okay, look at his base stats. His base max health is 44. His base max protection is 48. The protection, hollow array, and multiplexer are going to give him what? Plus 24% protection. The health is going to give him plus 16%. So yes, you are losing on total numerical values. That's true. If you give him all protection mods, he is going to have more protection net gains than he will health mods. However, he recovers 5% health and 5% protection with every status effect he's going to gain. That's great. That's great. So again, why not protection? He's going to be recovering a lot more health than he will protection when he has health up, provided by Logray. So Logray is going to give him a bonus 30% health, which means his max health is going to jump from 44,000 up to almost 60,000. Now, 16% of 60,000 or 24% of 48. Do some quick math. It's very similar. However, Chirpa is going to provide him, heal him by 20% of his max health. Ewok Elder is going to heal him based on Elder's health. Wicket is going to give him back 4% health per critical hit Wicket achieves, but only 2% protection. And on we go. So again, the more health he has, the more longevity he will have, because he will have more synergies with all the other Ewoks. You really, really, really want health on him. Now, once again, I'm breaking my own rules, as you can see there. And that's just because that's a very, very, very good mod for him. Plus almost 5% potency, which is great because his basic is going to dispel all buffs from a target. I mean, he's how you get past walls. He is the tank that gets you around other tanks. So you do want high potency secondaries on him as much as possible. So you can see my health mod down there, the circle. I have plus 7% potency right there. I have, and then plus 5% on the triangle. So there's an additional 12% potency between those two mods. The square, right? We got plus 4.5% protection, plus 2% defense, and then some more protection. So like if you're modding him for offense and crit damage and all that stuff, you really, really need to consider changing that. All right, moving on. There's some alternatives, but moving on. Ewok Elder. Guess where we're going with him? Yeah, if you said health, you nailed it. Most people put health into speed on him. I don't really think he needs the speed, mostly because you don't want him outpacing your other Ewoks. If you watched my strategy guide number 2, you really do want him to be slower than your other Ewoks so that he doesn't get ahead of them in the turn meter train, because, well, you want him at the end of it to provide maximum turn meter opportunity to your team rather than pumping up their turn meter when they're already at like 80-90% when the match starts. So you do want him a bit slower. With that said, his basic attack is going to give a 60% chance for himself to gain 50% turn meter, which means he's going to move rather quickly anyway, especially with Chirpa's Omicron, which we'll get to in a bit. Nonetheless, if we break down his kit, it's recover health, revive with more health, revive another ally at 40% health. So again, he's saying health synergy, health synergy, health synergy. Give your Ewoks health. Health, 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 right? And tenacity, I do stress the tenacity on him because his base tenacity is 49%, which is pretty good. But by the time you get them to competitive levels in Grand Arena Championship, most of the debuffing units out there are going to start pushing 90, 100, 150% tenacity. So you need to do whatever you can to try to push him up just a little bit. And so I have a tenacity set on him and 4 health sets. That's so that he provides the maximum healing ability out there, so that he has the maximum survivability for himself out there. Again, remember Logray providing health up, so that's another big boost. And then I've got tenacity secondaries on most of these. I mean, look at the offense, plus 2.5. Or the diamond, I got plus 7 tenacity. On the circle, I've got another plus 6% tenacity. I mean, between my secondaries, I'm looking at plus 30% tenacity from the secondaries, and then I've got a primary set to boot. So yeah, keep him alive, keep him cleansed, Try to stop him from getting debuffed. Wicket is probably the most straightforward of all of these. Most people put crit damage on him, protection, offense as the primaries, and then the top 100 guilds are running critical chance and crit damage. And I'm going to say, ruh-roh, Scooby-Doo, that's not a good idea. Why? Well, the underline in red is all dealing straight to damage, right? It says whenever deal physical damage to target enemy and gain critical chance up. That's his basic. That means whatever his crit chance rate is, he's already going to gain additional crit chance on top of it. By the time you get Homeboy to relics or even just gear 11, 12, whatever, his critical chance is going to be so high he doesn't need the boost. What he could benefit from is some more survivability. The crit chance is just it's not going to do anything for him. My Wicket with the mods you see here is already pushing, I think, 110% crit chance. And that's before he gets the crit chance out from his basic. Now, do you run offense or critical damage? I will say this, offense guarantees more damage with every hit. Crit damage guarantees more damage with only critical hits. And Wicket will pretty much only be critically hitting. At this point, he should be at the high levels only yielding critical hits. Of course, there are times where your opponents cannot be critically damaged. So at that point, your critical damage mods become worthless. So to a degree, it kind of depends on who you're going to attack. Personally, I prefer offense, even though I have crit damage mods on him. But yeah, you do not really want speed on him. The only thing you want to do is pump his damage and his offense. Also because he's your only heavy hitter on the Ewok team. He's the only one that's going to knock out any big hits. So crit damage, offense, and health or tenacity. Both of those are good. Health or tenacity. But you do not want crit chance mods on him, not at the high levels. When you're still like gear 8, 9, 10, 11, probably a good idea. But at some point you need to outgrow that and move on. So there you go. Alternative sets, speed, and health. All right, Scout. The Ewok I first loved and still do, but can almost never use. He's an attacker and he needs potency because his basic has a better than half chance to remove turn meter from your opponents. So the potency is essential, and this guy's really good, as I've said before, in 3v3 and in some niche turn meter control teams. His rushing attacks deal physical damage to target enemy with an additional 50% chance of a critical hit. So you do not need to mod him for crit chance. I would highly suggest offense and potency. You could of course go crit damage just like Wicket, but I've had the very best out of offense and potency. Again, I would go offense and potency with primaries that just increases damage. So offense on the triangle, potency on the cross, and make sure that he's just hitting and removing all that turn meter. Alternatively, straight up potency, just like Teebo. All right, let's move on. Zetas, we got 4 of them. How I wish we had a Zeta for Ewok Elder. I have an idea on that. Let's look at that in a second. So I've talked about this one kind of ad nauseum in the other, the strategy part 2, but his Zeta is the #1 you should apply to your teams. It changes the game so much for Ewoks. It adds a 60% chance to call an assist whenever any Ewok uses a special attack. That's how they're going to spread their bonus turn meters. That's how they're going to spread their buffs around. Your second Zeta should probably be Wicket. When Wicket scores a critical hit, all Ewoks recover 4% health and 2% protection. See here? More health, in fact, double the rate of health regeneration than protection. Again, you want health mods, not protection. All right, significantly increase the team's survivability. His AoE, for example, should hit 5 times, 5 crits. If you've got like broods or a summon bot out there, then there's a potential for 6. But anyway, if it's 5 crits, that one attack will recover your whole team, 20% health and 10% protection. Really nice. Third should be Paploo. Paploo is, I will hold that I think he is one of the very best tanks in the game. Logray is so much harder to quantify how effective it is, but let's just say it is effective. It is very, very effective. Because the health up, if you've modded everyone for health, and he helps everyone recover, he heals passively. So the The health up just provides your Ewoks a lot more longevity for the fight. And again, this is a grindy, slower victory team. I mean, they are fast, but it's death by 1,000 cuts. Thus, you have to hit a lot of times. All right, the one and only Omicron for poor old murder bears. All right, so we got the Zeta on Chief Chirpa. What does the Omicron provide? It's, I'm not going to read that. I'm just going to simplify this for you. What it does, the Omicron essentially makes your Ewoks a lot faster. It gives all Ewoks plus 30% speed. It increases their chance to assist from 60% when someone uses a special to 100%, guaranteeing an assist, guaranteeing buff spreading, guaranteeing 20% turn meter to the Ewok that assists. And it increases the damage on Ewok basics up to plus 50%. Not up to, but it does increase it to 50% more damage from their basics. This means that your Ewoks, even the weaker ones, should start doing enough damage that you don't need 1,000 hits anymore. You only need about 600. That is meant to be a bit of a joke, but it's very meaningful. And how well does it work? Recently, I posted this vid where I defeated a Relic 5 Bad Batch in Grand Arena. It was a fairly easy and significant win. Omicron Qui-Gon Jinn, this is unfortunately post-buff, so his Omicron was invalidated. But yes, that is Jedi Master Kenobi, and I destroyed him. He was Relic 7 with all of his Zetas, and the Ewoks just beat the tar out of him. That would not have happened, FYI, if Kenobi had been the lead. But as a secondary or as a support unit under Qui-Gon, the Ewoks destroyed him. And then just recently, 65 banners against an authentic Omicron Qui-Gon Jinn. Did not have Jedi Knight Anakin, but as I will explain later in part 4, don't think it would have mattered. I think Ewoks, if modded right and have the speed advantage, will destroy almost any. Of course, it does depend. If you put, it depends. But the standard Qui-Gon Jinn with Jedi Knight Anakin, I think the Ewoks will hands down beat it. All right, now before we run away here, a quick wish list. CG, if you're listening, give us a Zeta for Ewok Elder. A Zeta, please, give us a Zeta. And my recommendation, I'll make it easy for you. Here it is. Here's what I want. Ewok Elder cannot be revived. I know, doesn't that suck? When Ewok Elder is defeated, though, if the leader is an Ewok, the leader gains Ewok Elder's tribal healing and power of the Force abilities. In other words, if Ewok Elder is defeated, the leader inherits his knowledge and wisdom and able to keep the tribe going. Anyway, I think it'd be fun. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you all like this video, let me know. If you got some requests, let me know. Hit that like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Part 4 coming soon. See you later.